You're listening to ArTEEtude, a podcast with artists created and produced by Detlef Schlich, a visual artist and ritual designer, living and loving in West Cork, and best known for his essay about the cause and effect of shamanism, art and digital culture. Working in the field of performance, photography, painting, sound, installations, and film, he will dive and discover with us and a weekly creative guest into the unknown and exciting deep ocean of the creative mind.
This is Detlef Schlich, and today we dive into the deep and unknown exciting ocean of the creative mind together with Stephen Drojensky. Hi, Stephen. It is great. We are actually. I have to come over here a little bit. We are now in California with Stephen. I mean, in West Cork and in California.
We're in Burbank, beautiful downtown Burbank. Now it's on the east side, so it would be near the foothills of like Glendale, and Sun Valley is over here. Kahunga. It's the foothills. Foothills of the East Valley.
All right. So how far is it apart from Los Angeles?
Not too far. We're about maybe 5-6 miles out of LA, downtown LA.
So that's not really far. So yeah, great to have you here, Stephen, in West Cork. Stephen is actually, it's quite funny. I mean, what we're gonna do is we have the same procedure. We do 3 episodes. And first of all, actually, Happy New Year to everyone now, because it is the 1st January, and I didn't sing a Christmas song, and I didn't compose a Christmas song for nobody. So my bad. It's really unfortunately, because normally I'm gonna do that, but I forgot it. The last episode was with Felicitas, and that was so exciting that I forgot completely about that. Wishing you all a happy Christmas. So at least we both wish you a happy New Year. So better than nothing. Yeah. So Stephen is a punk rock guitar player, and since 40-50 years, actually Cliff Roman came to me, and if you go back to episode 80 or whatever, so you might still know Cliff. Cliff is somehow one of the founders of the South Californian Punk Rock, and he was the founder of the band the Weirdos, and Stephen is now the guitar player of this reunion of the Weirdos. And they call it Romans Weirdos, right?
Yes.
And they are. Stephen told me that they are next week in the Foo Fighters studio and recording then the new album. And Cliff, he said, "Hey, Detlef, so do you want to have a talk with Stephen? So he would like to talk with you as well." And we just reunited our new band, and I say, yeah, that might be great, and I might have Cliff as well somehow later during this year in this podcast. So I have Stephen here now, and I think we have a lot to discover regarding. We start with the 70s, 80s, actually. Or no, actually, we start with Stephen's life, his growing up in probably California, which I don't know actually, so where he was born and so on. And the first episode is about it actually. So I would say just we start. When did they throw you on this planet?
Music?
No, as a person in general.
I started. Okay, born in November 6th. On November 6th, 1963.
1963.
Wow,
you're younger than me.
Yep. Let's see, I was born 2 weeks before President John Kennedy was shot.
All right.
2 weeks before that.
Yeah.
Lots of commotion going on there. And then also the Beatles landed here 64, just a few months later.
All right.
In America. That was a big thing, kind of. And,
I could imagine. Yeah. Where was your birthplace, the place of birth? Where are you?
Burbank.
Yeah. As well.
Burbank, and I'm still in Burbank. Yeah.
Ah, okay. So it is still your home place since you're born there. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Well, I've lived all over LA, but I always come back to Burbank.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably nice, isn't it? I mean, calm, quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
So it's not probably not so busy like LA in general.
Certain parts are, but where we're up like in the hills here, like the foothills. So it's pretty quiet up here.
Yeah.
You get a coyote here and there, or a deer comes down, down the street.
It's then already in the 60s. The 60s in LA when you start actually from the kindergarten and then enter you in your primary school, where you're interested in as well in this Beach Boys culture and all that.
Oh yeah, well I was born like when that started happening, pretty much. And well, in my household, we were raised on, my dad would bring home a lot of records and tapes. Yeah, but he liked what do you call that? Easy listening stuff, like Herb Alpert, Tijuana Brass.
All right.
What else? Just kind of middle of the road. Andy Williams.
What did he? What was the song from him? What was Andy Williams again?
Oh, Moon River.
All right.
Moon River.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah.
Moon River. And and then a lot of Herb Alpert and Tijuana Brass. So he had a lot of he liked to bring home electronics a lot. And we had a hi-fi console, high fidelity
in the 60s.
Console, they called it. Yeah, in the 60s. So there was like a wooden box, with a turntable in it. And there was a radio. Yeah. And he had some reel-to-reel tapes, stuff like reel-to-reel tape. And
the reel-to-reel stuff is great, isn't it? I mean, I love this.
Yeah,
I love this. This was the 4-track. Could you already experiment with it? So let it run reverse, and then you could listen to you explore it as a child.
Actually, no, it was more like records and it was called he brought home it was called play tape, and they don't make these anymore, but it was precursor to the 8-track cartridge, and it was a 4-track cartridge, so it was like a mini version of an 8-track cartridge. And you'd have like 4 different programs with like a couple songs on each program. And it would click over, it'd be 2-song click, and then click over, click. And we had that. And then I had a little phonograph too, to play like, 45s on and albums on, but mostly 45s because I was still little. So I just had 45s. And he played, the big records were kind of off limits to us, but I would stare at the covers though, like the album covers.
Yeah.
And, back when you could do that, and we could still do that, but
so it wasn't your 45. It was a little plastic one to carry.
A little plastic box. Yeah, with little suitcase and
batteries, no, probably.
And no, you can plug it in, and batteries too, but mostly that stayed at home. Let's see.
So when was your? Did you buy 45s on your own?
When I was, by the time I was about I don't know, 4 or 5 years old. Yeah, I started getting into, I had an older sister at home too. I have 2 sisters, but Rana and Judy. Judy was already married. Judy got married a year before I was born, but and that's where I'm living right now, actually, with Judy. And
Okay.
so Judy has quite the collection, and Rana did too. But then I broke into, gosh, it was like 1967 that I broke into Rana's stash of records, and then I started listening to, the Beatles.
Was 4.
Picture sleeve when they had.
Was 4 years.
Hmm?
Was 4 years already.
Yeah, 4 years old. So and no, not I wasn't quite 4 years when this came out, but almost 4 years old. But yeah, she had Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields Forever.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, oh, Penny Lane, that's a happy song, and I just kept playing it and playing it. And then I flipped it over to that Strawberry Fields, and I was like, whoa,
That was the
what
45.
is this? Yeah,
Yeah.
45.
Yeah.
And I remember the end. I go, oh, Strawberry Fields, it's a nice, pretty song. And then at the end of it, where it's all like, when I guess later in life I found out he was saying, I buried Paul, or whatever he says at the end. John Lennon says it.
Did he? I don't know.
It gets dark. It gets dark toward the end of Strawberry Fields. So, but then again, I just kept playing that thing over and over.
Did you understand it probably not now? You probably thought buried. Yeah, what's that? I mean,
who's what? But then I found out later he's just saying cranberry sauce. So, and
I mean, that might be a great experience if you're so young and if you listen to it. So I mean, I know I started actually listening early to Led Zeppelin, but I never ever came into this experience to buy it. So the first time that I came in contact with Led Zeppelin, I was already 12 or 13. So I think if you come as a 3 or 4 year old child in contact with, okay, I mean, Beatles, they were quite tame in comparison to Led Zeppelin, but still it's still something different than listening to children's songs, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot different. And then we had she also had the Move. Remember the Move?
The Move, yeah. The Move, yeah, sure. What was it?
Let's see, it was
it's Jeff Lynne was in it, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I think this was right before he joined. It was still Roy Wood.
Roy Wood was long, like a wizard.
Yeah,
was long
hair, with the weird. Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah. So that song, that record was. It was. Here we go around the lemon tree.
All right.
And then flowers in the rain was on the back of that, which also had a bunch of weird sound effects going on in there. It had like a rainstorm and a thunder and flowers in the rain, and that was a pretty cool song. But that was on A&M. I was infatuated by A&M Records.
Yeah.
And Herb Alpert's label. So that was on A&M. I go, well, if it's on A&M, it's got to be a good record. So what else did she have on here? We had some Beach Boys too. We had, what else do we have? Oh, then I dug deeper back into the stash. My other sister, Judy, left some records behind from the 50s. And she had in there original, like Bill Haley and the Comets, Rock Around the Clock.
Mm.
And then she also had Carl Perkins on Sun Records.
Yeah.
Honey Don't, or something like that. Blue Suede Shoes, something like that. And then
that is great, isn't it? I mean, to saw that was 4 years, and probably you adored your sisters, didn't you? Probably.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that. I mean, almost 20 years difference is a lot, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah. Well, I I was the last one born, so you know, so I was getting all the attention. So I'm sure there was a little bit of a, you know, not hatred, but jealousy.
I don't know. I mean, look, if they already were 19,
Yeah, they're already like in their 20s. So.
They probably were already far out this thing being jealous on a little child. I mean, they could you could be already a child of them, you know.
Yeah,
actually.
And oh, then also in that stash was the Crickets, Buddy Holly and the Crickets.
I just know Buddy Holly, but I don't know the Crickets.
Yeah, the Crickets. Well, that was his band, the Crickets. But it was just labeled. It was just labeled the Crickets, and it was maybe baby or something like that. Yeah. And I forgot the flip side, but yeah, again, I was just like barely 5, almost 4, and just kind of computing all this stuff. But wow. I would just play these things over and over.
Can you still do you still remember that, or?
Yeah. I remember that.
Wow, because I can't remember not a lot of things when I was 4. So.
Yeah, I remember that, and then the next year, my dad, right before Christmas, he had just turned 50 that month, December. And then he had always had heart problems when he was growing up. He had a rheumatic heart, rheumatism. And so that weakened his heart, but he smoked a lot. And he ate a lot of bad food and coffee, and didn't drink too much alcohol, but here and there, have a beer here and there. But
probably diabetes as well. Huh?
Yeah, diabetes. Yeah, he got diagnosed with diabetes in that month, 68.
Yeah.
And then on Christmas Eve, he had a heart attack, massive heart attack, and he was rushed to the hospital. 1968, and then he passed away Christmas Day, later the day on Christmas Day. So I don't remember a lot of that. Maybe I blocked it out, or yeah, they didn't know how to come home and tell me what has happened, and so it was kind of taboo for a year or so after that. But I figured it out. He wasn't coming back, and but that's the sad part. I'm sorry. Well.
Yeah. So
again.
Yeah. 5 years. Okay. So, but you can remember lots. That's really. So. Yeah, and then so did you probably, so you had your sisters, and they were looking after you very well as well, didn't they?
Yeah, and then my brother-in-law, who's also living here right now, my dad, when they told me, you know, when he was in the hospital that day, my dad was in the hospital, and he knew he was going to go, and he told my brother-in-law to watch over Steve, you know, just you know, take my place basically, and
he took
do
the
your
place.
best. My dad.
So but he is still alive now, your brother-in-law.
Yeah, my older sister Judy and him Sheldon, they both live here. I'm in their house right now.
All right.
Nice 70s house here. We got 70s.
I see that. Yes. Yeah.
Cabinets
and that's unbelievable. Yes. I mean, it's yeah. It looks a little bit like a German kitchen in the 70s somehow.
So, we got some modern appliances back there, but it's just.
So but what did you? That was in your early years. So that means, still, as you were in the kindergarten and you start to listen to pop and rock music, before you start with your with primary school.
Yeah, grammar school. Gosh, what would I be by then? Yeah, like 69, 70. Oh, and I picked up the trumpet
Yeah.
when I was 9. When I
Yeah.
was 9 years old.
So you start.
And I
That was
heard
your first.
Alfred.
That was your first
It
instrument
was
then.
my, yeah, trumpet.
All right.
Uh, oh, sorry.
Huh?
Oh, trumpet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So my aunt Ruth was a musician as well, and she got me my first trumpet, and I started learning trumpet. At first, I didn't kind of know how to blow into it and all that stuff, but then I learned pretty quick. But we didn't have well, in grammar school, we didn't have like a band, a proper, orchestra. Yep.
Yeah.
So they got me, my sister that lived with us at the time, Rana, she got me a trumpet teacher that she met working at a shoe store here in Burbank. He was like, he was going to Cal State LA as a music student at the time. And
Yeah.
but he taught to pick up money on the side. He taught students. So his name was Ray Ponson.
Yeah.
I'm still in touch with him too. We're still friends. And yeah, so he taught me the proper way to blow into it. And we started doing scales.
So you
just little like
you started to learn somehow a little bit the classical way to read music.
Yeah. Yeah, it was in B flat. B flat is trumpet. And so I learned the time signatures, and I just had to read notes and on the trumpet. Now if I liked a song a lot and I couldn't figure it out on the note paper, I started to just write down the fingerings, like like 1 and 2, or 1 or 2 or 1, and I would just write that on paper. And this I would just know like how to blow it to get the note. And so that's what I started getting the ear for music.
Sure.
And he recognized that too, and he just he pushed me pretty hard, kind of like in a nice way, but I remember he would be like yelling sometime. He's like, "No, don't stop playing. If you're out of breath, just keep going, or take a breath, keep going. Just go. I know you could do it." And no, he's a good guy. And also, when I went to, he lived with his parents too at the time, because he was going to college and kind of starving and working at a shoe store. And and he lived over here in Sun Valley, not too far from here. And so I would go to his house, and in his den, he had a whole cabinet of albums.
And
I go, wow, rock albums. I've never seen rock albums before. And then he was a big Frank Zappa fan.
So you started listening. Frank Zappa was 9 years.
Yeah, 9 years old. And the Beatles, of course. He loved the Beatles, Rolling Stones, The Who.
I mean, Frank Zappa was 9 years messed up your head for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just like, whoa, all this shit's coming at me, like, whoa, man. And he had bootleg records too. I go, what are those records just in white sleeves? He goes, oh, those are bootlegs. Those are commercials. Yeah, so yeah, he had are you familiar with the Beatles a lot? Or
yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. I was listening to the Blue and the Red album up and down, because my father had them as well. And but I think how old? I think I was as well 8 or 10 years, So yeah, sure. And I was singing this,
And then he turned me on to back in the late 60s, early 70s, they had all these bands like Chicago, the band Chicago.
Sure.
with horns,
But that was
and,
already, I mean, Chicago was already a little bit so in 72, 75, 78, something like this, no?
yeah, no, they go back to late 60s.
Do they?
Yeah, like maybe 69, I guess, or 70.
I think the first hit of them in Germany, in Europe, was "If You Leave Me Now." It's "If You Leave Me Now."
Oh yeah, it goes way back more.
Okay, so I just hear that our meeting will end soon.
Yeah, I see it.
So what we're gonna do? It's great. We're gonna play now a song before we say goodbye. And first of all, I have to tell all the listeners that they, if you want to know more about everything, you can go to I don't do you have a Facebook account as well? No, it's Steven Drojensky, Drojensky.
Yes.
And or
Okay.
come to Facebook to the Isle of West Cork Artists, where we have a lively chat, and you can join the group, and if you have questions, you can ask it there as well, or you just go to Steve.
Yeah. Okay, so real quick, my Facebook accounts, I got hacked into a few times.
Yeah.
By hackers.
Yeah.
So the current Steven Drojensky has my little white dog Sonoma on there. So that's the one. That's the current one.
Yeah, right. So you have to click the little white dog, Yeah,
little white dog.
Or if you're not sure, go to the Isle of West Cork Artist page, and then you might get linked to Steven as well, and you can add him as friend or whatever, and he's probably willed as well to tell you a little bit more if you want to know a little bit more about his. But we still speak next week in the second part of the episode more about his bands. He was band member in RF7, Moral Decay, and Angry Samoans, for instance. And we will speak about that as well on a later stage too. Do you have an Instagram account?
No.
This is
okay. So, but I have, and you can go to Detlef Schlich or ArTEEtude or I Love West Cork Artists on Instagram, and you can see there all the updates and where you can get to this podcast and to the next thing. And I will send this, I will edit this podcast as well for YouTube, so you can see it 1 week later on YouTube after this episode was on all the podcast hosts. You are as well now in the Hall of ArTEEtude, Steven.
Oh, nice.
That is, I have to prepare that. So So you will be on a Mac, but you can't buy the Mac currently because my shop is closed. I was hacked as well.
Okay. Those for the holidays.
All right. So what we're gonna do now? We're gonna play a song, and this is actually from your band RF7. The band leader was Felix Alanis, right?
Yes.
And the song is called Submit to Them Freely, and yes. you played the Dorrant guitar. What is a Dorrant guitar?
Oh, they couldn't spell Drojensky.
Yeah.
So my relatives back east, to make that easier for people, they switched their name to Duran. And I just added a T onto Duran, so I made it Durant. So that's a mystery there.
All right. I mean,
I'm also known as Steve Dro too. Steve Dro, so people can't pronounce Drojensky. So DRO, Steve Dro. So.
Steve, I would say great to have you here in this show, the first episode. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I think when was this happened? This song, this submit to them free 81, 82, no?
This was 83.
83 last century. So dear punks and everyone else, this is really old school punk, and you're welcome to submit to them freely. Bye bye.
You have listened to ArTEEtude, West Cork's first art, fashion and design podcast. ArTEEtude, never so close again. That was too close.